Hey there, students. I've got an assignment today for you about the life cycle of a frog. And a frog is a pretty cool animal because it has a pretty dramatic life cycle. We get to see that animal really change during the course of its life. And it goes through what's called a metamorphosis. And that's, metamorphosis just means a big change. And as many of you know, a frog changes from an egg to a tadpole into an adult frog during the course of its life. Check out the link. I got a video you can see that happening. But what we're going to do is we're just going to create a little chart. And I've got this paper, which you should have in your folder, but if you can't find it, I've linked it as well in the classroom. And you're just going to need one other sheet of paper and your good old glue and something to write with and your scissors. So let's take a minute and let's put together this chart of a frog's life cycle. Here is our paper, and it shows the 5 different stages of a frog's life cycle, and we're just going to simply cut these out. And I chose to do the frogs because we've had so much rain here the last couple of days that I can hear the frogs out in my yard getting ready to do their thing. So if you're really ambitious and you want to learn a lot more about a frog's life cycle, I encourage you to maybe find some tadpoles of your own. They're pretty easy to capture, and they're pretty easy to take care of, and you can sometimes watch them transform into frogs right in your home. If you guys remember, we've done this in the classroom before, but unfortunately this year we did not get a chance to do it together. So I know that cutting and pasting is not exactly the same as observing real animals, but at least you can kind of learn about it a little bit this way. And I'm almost done here, cutting out the last one. And of course, take your time and do a nice job cutting. And all of this we can get rid of. Now I have my we start and end with an adult frog. One of the interesting things about a life cycle, a cycle kind of means to go around, and you always get back to where you started. It's not a one-time change, it's something that keeps happening. So we start with this adult frog, and that adult frog lays eggs. Well, once those eggs hatch, they turn into a tadpole. Or they don't turn into a tadpole. Tadpole comes out of the eggs. And then that tadpole starts to grow. And this is, to me, just the weirdest looking thing is when you see a tadpole with these little legs. And then the tail. Now, sometimes children get confused, or not just children, sometimes adults too get confused. The tail doesn't actually fall off. What happens is the frog's body grows and grows and grows, but the tail doesn't grow. So everything grows around it until the tail is so tiny that you don't even see it anymore. They call that absorption, but it doesn't actually go away. It's just that everything else grows around it. And then eventually you get back to an adult frog. And this is why we call it a cycle. Let's take a look here. Or let's glue them down here. We've got my adult. Now, if you guys are feeling ambitious and you want to really make it look nice, I would say take a few extra minutes and color in these pictures. I'd love to see how they turn out. these all on here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some arrows. And these arrows give us a good visual representation of what's changing and what's happening. We start with a frog, and that frog lays eggs. Those eggs hatch into tadpoles. Those tadpoles grow and form legs, and they continue to grow. And finally, it grows into an adult frog, which comes out of the water. And then that cycle will continue. That adult frog will lay eggs. And then the next one will lay eggs. And this cycle will keep going, hopefully forever, right? It'll keep going until that animal goes extinct. When that cycle stops, that's the end of those frogs. So we want this cycle to keep going forever. And obviously the frog wants it to keep going forever. So we call that a life cycle. All right, so here's our finished life cycle of a frog. Like I said, if you want to color in your pictures, it'll probably look a little bit fancier. Get this up on your refrigerator. And can you think of any other animals that have a really unique life cycle? Can you think of another animal that goes through a metamorphosis? If you do, post in the comments or send me a message and let me know if you can think of it. Until then, I hope you guys enjoy your frog project. I hope maybe some of you guys get to see some real frogs. And I'll see you all again real soon.